and welcome to the Wheel Reads First Time Reader Podcast. Today, Alan can't be with us, so you'll be hosted by Zool, Ian, and Chris.
Woo!
We fired Alan.
We got rid of him. We found out he was a dark friend for real.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he is actually. So I'm happy to be here with these two fine fellas. And how has your week been, Ian?
Ooh. Well, first of all, Alan hid from us who was going to be helping to host. We knew he was going to be gone. He mentioned it last week.
But you couldn't guess.
We thought Jake for sure. Well, so I was thinking, I told Zool before we started, there were a couple other names I threw out, and they said they definitely couldn't. I was like, well, then it has to be Zool. Like, there's nobody else that's been there from the beginning, knows the whole vibe, everything that could just easily slide in there. So surprised, but also not surprised, but also very happy. So awesome to have you here. This would be fun. Yeah.
But what about the rest of your week?
Oh, Lordy. What day is today? So it's Tuesday. So currently I'm in a hotel room. My boys are in here also. They're on the other side. You might hear them fighting from time to time. We'll see how this works out. They're very peacefully playing a card game right now, but that can go crazy at a second's notice. They're staying with me down at Fort Bragg. Last time I had them, I tried doing the driving back and forth thing. That was insane. This probably isn't super exciting for them, but we went to the pool, went to play basketball, went to the movies. We saw the new Thor movie, which was really fantastic, by the way, especially if you're going with little kids. Yep. I think this one, it's a little cheesier.
That's what I've heard.
But if you have littles that you're going with, it is a lot of fun. Like Ronan and I were like clapping and screaming at different parts because it was just fantastic. But I think definitely geared more towards the little ones. Man, what else? Tomorrow I head back to Richmond. Kids got a swim meet, so we got a little road trip in front of us, and then a couple days back at home with them, and until I send them back to their mom. Gosh, there's probably other things going on, but like when I have my kids, like I erase everything else. Right? Yeah. So I don't know. There's stress. There's probably something I owe somebody or some work I'm supposed to be doing, but do I care? No. Am I doing it? No. After I drop them off on Friday, I'm gonna go, shit, I forgot a week's worth of stuff. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well, have fun with the kids. Chris?
I was a little nervous, honestly, because I knew it was going to be Zool. Everything in me said it's going to be Zool. She's going to ask great questions, and you're not going to have the answers.
Yeah. And she doesn't give anything away.
No.
I've tried to prep her so many times. She doesn't reveal anything.
Half of what we do is because Zool brought it into being in the beginning. She's like, what's your favorite characters, guys? All of a sudden, now we do favorite characters. Hey, I want you to find a spot in the book that you really like. And oh, okay, cool. We'll add that in too. Yep, just a little bit of part of me is like, maybe you should skip tonight and let Ian do it all on his own again.
I would be so upset if you skipped out on me. Oh my God.
She's the Wizard of Oz. You think Alan's been running this, but Zool secretly behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, I appreciate you guys. Last week, nephew stayed with me an extra day, and I realized I had him over the weekend. He came in on a train, 12.5-hour train ride from Newport News, Virginia to Charlotte. Absolutely ridiculous, but he got here and we just had a great time. And I got anxious about him leaving. And I realized how much I miss my boys. I don't know how much I actually talk about my nephews on the platform, but in the beginning, I know I talked a lot about them, and it kind of faded out because over the last year, I've made that transition to Charlotte, and so I haven't seen them as much. But like my oldest boy, he's 17, just a couple months out of the 17 gate, looking almost eye to eye with me. The kid is 6'4" and 240 pounds. He has grown literally on 8 inches since the last time I saw him. His voice has dropped even deeper. Like all of the feels as he's starting to get older, turning into a man. And now we're talking about like real life stuff. What do you want to do when you graduate next year? Like, are you going to join the military? Are you going to go to community college? Are you going to, so like all of those like adult type conversations. And it just kind of hit me all at one time as I was like, man, we got this one extra day. And I want to make sure I dedicate that night to just the loose stuff, because we hit all the heavy stuff. I introduced him to Chanel's family, and then we talked about future and career goals and aspirations. And then I just needed one night where it was just me and my nephew, you know? And so I appreciate you guys giving me that space. And then this past weekend, my cousin came up and visited with us. That was just really good family time the last week, and I really needed that, and I didn't realize how much I needed that. But my disappointment is in today. So Ian, you talked about the Thor movie, and so I worked from home today, which is a treat. And so I took off from my lunch break at 4:30, and Chanel and I found a 4:45 Thor time frame. We're in the movie. We didn't even realize, because we're A-listers, the AMC, so we didn't realize we had gotten 3D tickets, because we pay that subscription every month. We can pick whatever we want. 3 movies a week. We're watching it, and we get to a specific scene at the end where Thor makes a big decision.
Yeah.
And then power goes out.
Oh.
Black.
Oh. These
And
are the
then,
worst movies for something like that to happen in.
When I
pretty much all the Marvel ones, but this.
When I tell you, Ian, I mean,
Did you scream?
That pivotal moment. It was like, oh, because this is really bad. So it shows you the state of where we're at today. My first instinct was, oh shit, something's happening.
Yeah.
Well,
because there's like a guy I saw in the lobby.
Do you start crawling? Do you low crawl? Like what's going on?
I got low, and then the lights came back on, and it was like, oh, power just went out. Okay, like logic kind of settled in.
I think I'd freak out too.
Yeah, I sit there for literally about 8 minutes. I'm like, Chanel, I'm gonna go check, see what's going on. Plus, I wanted to get another drink. I go out, and all the drink machines are down. I'm like, oh, this is clearly power outage all the way across. You know, waiting in the lobby. No employee said anything to any of the 35 people standing out there. So I got a little perturbed, but I was like, this is cool. They're trying to fix it. I'm all right with this. You know, I'm hearing some banter. We don't have enough tickets to refund people. We're going to have to push other movie tickets times off so that we can get these people's movies finished. I'm like, well, hey, I get to see the end. That's all I care about. I go back in. I sit back down. I wait another 10 minutes. Nothing's happening. So at this point, I waited 25 minutes total. Then guys roll in with the cleaning cart. 3 young teenage guys. And they see us and they're like, oh, I guess we don't get to clean. Like attitude. And left their cart sitting there with the speaker, the radio. And they go out. I can hear them in the hallway. I can't believe they're still sitting there. I would already left. They should already left. Like, I can't believe they're still sitting there.
I'd still be sitting there.
Nobody's come and said, y'all are employees. You know what's going on. Why don't you say something to us? So I'm like still sitting there. And then I can hear them laughing at us. And then my blood starts to boil. So I go, I'm sitting at first, and then the walkie-talkie goes off. It's like, you guys know if there's anybody in Theater 10? Has everybody emptied out? Are y'all cleaning it? What's going on? And of course, these guys left their position and went out into the hallway. So I went and picked up the walkie-talkie.
Yes, that's what I would have done.
And I'm like, yeah, there are about 10 people still sitting here waiting on Theater 10 to get going. Your guys that were supposed to clean left laughing at us. We're waiting.
Oh.
And then it was like, thank you for the update. I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. I'll be here. literally in there.
You tell them
for-
exactly how much was left. Be like, yeah, we're at the 1 hour and 15.
Well, that was
minute
crazy. I
mark,
went
and-
back out with the walkie-talkie, and then they were starting the other movie. And they were starting at that point that they left them. So I'm like, all right, let me run back in here because they're gonna start soon. At this point, we're now 35 minutes waiting. Then we creep to 40,
Ooh.
45. I'm on the walkie talking. Hey, what's going on? We need an update. You got people in here. The guys that are cleaning come in and start cleaning around us. And then they put their stuff on the cart. They roll the cart out and then they start laughing like, haha, they're still sitting in there. The movie's not going to start again because we want to get the other movie started. Haha. I get on the mic. I'm like, this is the second time I've been ridiculed by your employees. Something better happened.
Yeah.
The manager's like, oh my God, I'll be down in a few minutes. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm sitting in here with a few other people. Some have left, others have not. You need to figure it out. And the next time they come in here and say something, best believe they're going to know about it.
Yeah, like if they had made the decision, management being they, that the show's got to keep rolling with the future shows, blah, 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 they can't push it back. A manager should have been there to communicate to you all, not the cleaning folks. So I almost don't even want to get too mad at the cleaning folks other than being extremely
But that's
rude.
the thing. There's one manager there, and he is the only one that knows how to run the machines. Because I heard that over the walkie-talkie and from the kids that were in there cleaning, talking about, yeah, we haven't been like this person hadn't been cross-trained to do that. That person hasn't been cross-trained to do that. I'm like, well, based on your attitudes, you probably don't come to work enough or care enough to be cross-trained. So literally after waiting for 55 minutes, I leave out with my walkie-talkie and I'm like, I need a manager at the customer service desk ASAP. And I stood there, and then one of the kids came and tried to get his walkie-talkie back. I kind of gave him a look, and he kept walking. Another guy,
Chris is like, "You ain't the manager. You keep going."
Yep. Another guy comes up, a tall guy. Like I guess he's used to being like that intimidating factor. He's a 6'4", like kind of heavy set guy, but he's also like soft and kind. So he's like, "Hey, I got tickets I can give you guys. Like I'm an A-lister. Those tickets do me no good. I can get in these movies whenever I want. I want a manager at this point." He's like, well, I'll take the walkie-talkie. No, you won't. A manager can have this walkie-talkie. When the manager comes down to talk to me, I lit into those kids because they came around. He's like, he could not warn them off. And he was like, I've had other complaints. They will be getting a pink slip and one of them will be fired. I'm like, that's not my objective. My goal is for you to teach them a lesson. They need the jobs. You need the employees.
Yeah.
So cross-train them, make them go up there and take care of that crap. And you be down here to take care of your customers because you need some training too. Like, so yeah, that I just wasted about 8 minutes, but that was today. That was right before I got in here. That's why I'm late because that 50
have you still not seen the end?
Dinner time. No. I have to go back for the last 15 minutes of the movie.
All right. If this makes you feel any better, whenever we go, I don't drink a lot of soda, but at the movie theater, I've got to get a cherry Coke and we're going to get popcorn and we'll probably add something chocolate in the mix. So we do that. Ronan, you know how a small is actually, 10 times the size of a 6-year-old kid. So he's sitting there with his popcorn. He's chugging his drink, chugging his drink. We got 15 minutes left in the movie. And Ronan goes, Dad, I gotta poop. And I was like, I'm like, can you hold it for like another 10 minutes? Like we're almost there. And like I hear him grunting and groaning. And I'm like, can you fart a little bit to kind of, ease it a little bit? Like, get some pressure out or something. Eventually I look over, he's like sweating and he's like, he's like this. So in the last 10 minutes, which again, won't give anything away, but all of these Marvel movies, the last 10 minutes, a lot happens, right? We've got to walk out. Like I rush him in there. He blows the bathroom up. He's laughing about it. And I'm sitting there going, come on, let's wipe. Let's go. I got to try and catch the end. And we got in literally for like, what would you say, River? Like the last 30 seconds. So,
Oh, you missed it too then.
So River explained a lot of it to us, but I do need to watch it because, of course, tons happens in those last 10, 15 minutes. So
I don't feel so bad.
I at least know what happens. I just didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Well, so that's you for this week, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you get to see
That's
the internet
plenty.
movie soon. Yeah. So for me, normally I'd say not much happened this week. However, I was on the WatCon staff. That is the first convention dedicated completely to the books and TV series The Wheel of Time.
Ooh.
And it happened this weekend in Columbus, Ohio. And
No, we
I
were
was on the
supposed to be on
staff.
Black
Of course,
Power.
what was I doing? Working with both the Discords, the planning
Oh.
Discord and the public Discord, of course, right?
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
She knows a thing or two because she's seen a thing or two.
Yeah. And so it was so fantastic. It was really only about 250 people. So it was a really nice, small, homey family feel. And we had main sessions where we had everybody in. It wasn't just panels where everybody goes your separate ways. And in the main sessions, it was like a variety show practically. You know, we had people coming. We had Rick Capasnai running in with prophecies about the con, and we had like videos playing of like Watt parodies. We had all kinds of stuff happening, and
Awesome.
we had every time I sat down for a meal, there were at least 2 people I had never met before. So
That's cool.
So yeah,
That's cool.
so you get to meet all these different people and kind of have a nice, a nice quiet time to sit down and talk to them. And they had a nice big open atrium area with a bunch of like little seating areas around. So
Sauce.
there was always a lot going on, and the rooms were far enough away that we could be loud in there until 4 a.m.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes, we could be loud in there until 4 a.m. and it was fine. And they gave us, we cleaned up after ourselves. Where everybody was like super friendly to each other, no problems, and so they're going to have us back for sure.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool.
If we want to come back, they want us to come back. And we converted one of the nighttime desk people and one of the bartenders. They're both going to start reading The Wheel of Time.
Converted.
Nice.
I love the word.
Yes. So absolutely, we converted.
That's great.
And for me, it was amazing because my oldest daughter flew up there too, and so she and I
Oh
roomed
wow,
together.
that's cool.
Yeah, and got to spend the weekend together. We had Michael and Kramer and Kate Redding as keynote speakers, and they are the voices of The Wheel of Time.
Yeah,
Super
they're our
fun.
favorite people to listen to.
Yes,
They also do the Sanderson books. So
yes. And I was currently listening to the second era of Mistborn on the way up there. So when I got a chance to sit down with Michael and talk to him about okay, so my new favorite, what are you saying there, Alan? Who is this?
Oh, I guess Alan
Why-
was trying to listen and his family's giving him a hard time. Well, that makes sense, Alan. I mean,
That's
you got
why
a
you're not
house
here.
pack full of, friends, family, kids, the whole shebang. So
You need earbuds,
Okay.
bro. One earbud in the ear where people can't see it.
Yeah, there
he's
you go.
doing that thing. I'm going on leave. And then he sits there and he's doing emails the whole time.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
exactly.
Just take a day off. You got this. You've earned
All
it.
right. So we had them as guests. We also had Daniel Green come in, and he was not at JordanCon, so I had not met him before. And he really liked the nice small feel as well, because he wasn't just constantly, he could like, oh, take a trip to the bathroom and just walk to the bathroom and come back and not be like ambushed 45 times
Right.
going and coming. So he really enjoyed it. He's a lot of fun. He actually can do some funny voices himself, which I didn't realize. And we had some people from around the world come in. Lesbian Nerdy
Oh, cool.
is in fact not just an emoji head. She does have
Really?
a body. Can confirm have a And so she came all the way from South Korea. We had Elliot Edits and Malkier Talks both fly in from England.
Wow.
We had some people from France and Norway. So
That's great.
it was a worldwide event, and I would recommend it. That's WatCon 2022. I hope to see you at WatCon 2023.
All right.
I think it's on our
That's
list.
awesome.
All right. Are you ready to dive in?
Sure.
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right,
I think
so-
these are some good ones.
Tonight, we will be doing chapters 11 and 12 of The Lord of Chaos. And the chapter icon for chapter 11 is the Dragon Fang. And the title is Lessons and Teachers. So, what does the Dragon Fang mean to you when you see this?
Danger.
Yeah,
Mystery.
danger. Well, it's been kind of it's morphed into a Rand thing, a male channeler,
Okay, male
the
channeler.
Dragon Reborn, or the dragon. Yeah,
White cloak.
mean-
like we've used it for so many things on this channel.
yeah. Well, and it's been a threat. You know, people etching on
Yep.
doors and stuff, and all that jazz.
Yeah, people
so
can scrawl it on your door to mean dark friend.
It's not really a
Right.
positive thing.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
white cloak symbol.
We do, in
Let everybody
fact,
know.
go to the Black Tower during this. But I want you to keep in mind, think about it. Sometimes it means dark friend and not just Sidene, because it can be scrawled on your door for dark friend. So think about if you think that anyone in this chapter is a potential dark friend. I'm not saying there is one.
They're all
Fair
potential
enough.
dark
Or
friends.
three. So there could be. And I want to know if you suspect anyone of being a dark friend while we go through this.
Why?
Now, when we left off, we had Rand getting bonded without consent.
Okay, so I wasn't here last week. Let's pause right there. Ian,
Go for it.
bonded without consent.
Pretty bad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Like I don't know
Not-
the full implications yet, but just the idea.
I didn't drop the R word, but how is it not? I mean,
Yeah,
It
your
is
mind.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Mental,
Mind.
yes, it is mental. art.
maybe even in a worse way.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
No. She's always she's going to be persistently in the back of his mind.
Yeah.
He's going to feel her hurts, feel her pleasures, know her thoughts.
She's going to be able to sense these things about him as well. And that's where the continued, it's not even just that one single action. There's going to be long-term, like
Repercussions.
non-consensual interaction between him and her.
Yes.
She's going to be able to take from him and sense and feel and everything. And he's never said that's okay. So it's like
Now-
a repeated, continuous.
Do you think he'll find a way to break it? Or will she hand it over to somebody else?
I'm thinking maybe she hands it over, but I don't know. Yeah, something I did get into last week, Chris, was, and I guess this chapter suggests otherwise, but I was like, all right, was this pre-planned? Was Varen in on it from the get-go? Like, just the way she reacted made it seem like she wasn't very surprised. She was ready to hop on and try and shield Rand, with her fellow Aes Sedai and everything. And it just happened too smooth. I'm like, wait, is Varen in on this?
I agree.
I still suspect her a little bit. You started to say, hey, do you suspect any dark friends? Varen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know she's
Well-
this sweet old lady that just likes to know things, but
Varen has worked
I
too
just-
long on this to be a dark friend. It's kind of my thought.
yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think
But
she is.
the
but I have
level of
question marks.
manipulation, yeah. That
And
these
she
Aes
knows
Sedai are
so
showing.
much,
She does.
but she doesn't let people know what
But
she
she's
knows.
also really close to Swan
Eh,
and Moraine.
Maureen.
but maybe that was intentional. Maybe she's been
There are
playing
a
the
few
long game.
lines. There are a few lines in here. There's at least one in here which I can argue might argue the other side. That says that she didn't know that this was going to happen.
Right.
Mhm.
I
It
don't
wasn't
think she does
pre-planned.
right now after this chapter. I don't think
Right.
she necessarily.
Yeah, moving
knew.
forward, I mean, it was like Varen let loose the breath she had been holding. Once she had told Swan and Moraine how dangerous he was, neither had listened, and now the passage of a little more than a year saw Swan stilled and probably dead, while Moraine, question mark. And then she goes into elaborating on the power that Rand has grown, and then also her like not expecting him to be able to block them from the power from the source so easily.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at it that way, first off, her interactions with Swan and Moraine just point to the fact that she's probably the third in that group. Like, there's always a trifecta. And so she's just as in on it as they are. And now she's trying to figure out what direction to take since she's lost her two comrades. That's kind of how I want to look at this.
Okay.
Not that she's a dark friend at all, but that she is kind of, one of the three leading, or that was leading Rand in the direction, and now Rand's kind of pushed them all aside.
I don't want to assume that Varen has the same plans for Rand that Swan and Moraine did.
Okay.
Remember, she kind of came into the know about Rand later on, and
True.
Also with her being a Brown. So we've always talked about how like the different Aja, they're playing a different game. They're trying to accomplish different things.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't know too much about like what the Browns want, other than they want knowledge. But when it comes to the dragon, like if they want to influence them, how do they want to influence them? If they want to control them, how do they want to control them? I don't think we know enough yet, and I think they're really good about keeping their cards to their chest. So I won't say that Varen wants the same thing that Moraine and Swan want.
No, at this
And
point,
I don't know what
she
she
knows
wants.
I don't think she knows. She's trying to figure it out. She goes.
She probably read some book that she's not sharing with anybody else, and she knows something else that's really significant, and she's just waiting for that moment.
That could be true.
Being all brown and whatnot. Brown Aja, that is.
At some point in here, it does say that she will not. She's been working towards something for 70 years, and she doesn't want this to mess it up.
Bingo.
You don't know what that is.
That's the whole dark friend idea, but I
It doesn't say. She could have known already that there was a Dragon Reborn coming, and she could have been. And she's like, I'm not going to let whatever Alana did mess it up. Right?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Agreed.
She doesn't say what it is that she's been working towards.
But she's got a plan and not a little one. She's been working on it for a long time. So
yeah, whatever it is, something she's been working on for 70 years.
Curious how this might unfold.
Yeah.
Somebody, Jake popped it up. Somebody mentioned that Varen said in passing about, like, either out of curiosity, would she say? Varen said she may bond Rand and Alana hears. So this was earlier in the series. And, well, I didn't remember that while I was reading. Man, what if Varen's the type to, like, use the power of suggestion to get other people to do shit for her, and then pretend and play and be like, oh my gosh, Alana, why'd you do that? He's like so strong and powerful, and like you should have done that, and like you didn't have consent. Oh my goodness. Meanwhile, maybe she sprinkled that idea on her intentionally.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah,
I want you to think about for a second. Okay, the last time we saw Alana and Varen was in the Shadow Rising in the Two Rivers, and they were helping out with the the Trolloc invasion and all of that.
Yeah.
And Alana said something about bonding to Perrin.
Oh yeah, she was all about some Perrin.
Yeah, Alana said that, and we had, someone back in the Great Hunt saying something about, all the sisters are talking about you. They want to potentially bond you. So this has been sort of foreshadowed all along. And the last time
Alana could be the dark one.
The last time, well, also it's not just this section. We also go elsewhere during this chapter.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just them. It could be anyone.
Sure.
If there is a dark friend in the chapter.
They could all be dark friends. I trust nobody.
They could be. And Rand was very specifically in Moraine's letter told not to trust any Aes Sedai. None of them.
Yeah.
No one who is currently an Aes Sedai should you trust. Is what Moraine basically said. So, and
now to prove that Varen is actually a decent person, trying to settle all these girls down after the commotion. She's
You all
like,
need tea. Tea time.
And
with a little
Fun.
bourbon,
Brandy?
actually double
A
or
lot
brandy.
of bourbon.
Double the brandy. Actually, make it a heavy pour and just get them to all pass out and go to bed because I don't want to
That-
deal with their shit tonight.
That's my friend. Anybody that wants to pour me a double and send me to bed, we can be friends.
They're out there passing out melatonin gummies to the kids. Be like, all right, it's past your bedtime. Shut up. Take some NyQuil. But I'm not even sick. Take the NyQuil. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Once or twice myself.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I noticed here is that they didn't know what had happened to Moiraine, which we saw in book 5. So they're like, is Swan dead? Is Moiraine dead? They didn't know about the tower split until they got here because they've been out in BFE, Emmons Field. And so there's a lot of information they don't know. They don't know which direction they're going to go with this split. So besides the bonding, what else did you get from this with Varen, Alana, and the girls?
Well, there's still some doubt in Alana's mind that he may not actually be the dragon. And Varen's like, let's just go ahead and get this understanding now. Like, he is the dragon reborn. So we now need to decide how we are going to move this group of girls, which is, another interesting thought that they had. It's like Edmund's Field had become like a gold mine, which I had my ideas on that. I mean, I'm
gonna give credit to Perrin and his Tavernus. That's what I'm thinking.
You can say that, but I think it's just the blood being awoken.
A Manetheren blood?
Manetheren blood from that queen who ended it all in her own
Eldrine.
way. Yeah, this is her lineage, like finally being awoken at the last of the days.
That's true. But someone had to wake him up. Maybe it was Lord Perrin. Wakey, wakey.
Maybe it's just the influence of the bubbles popping all over the world.
Well, that's true.
And that's just reactionary.
Well, I mean, think about the fact that we had 3 Ta'veren pop up there. We have 2 of the strongest channelers the tower has seen in hundreds or even 1,000 years.
Yeah.
In Egwene and Nynaeve pop up there.
And now you have Matt's sisters.
Yes, Bodwin.
There's something there.
Wasn't there something special about the brandy that Tam made this year? Wasn't it like extra good?
You're right. Maybe he went back in time and got the serum to create Aes Sedai, came forward in time and slipped it in the brandy.
Yeah, he time traveled. He was like, you know what? Last year they made fun of my brandy. So I'm going to go back to the Age of Legends and get their brandy recipe. And it just so happened also includes something that, lit a spark.
So all of those girls, even the ones that were too young to bring, are obviously the ones who've been sneaking brandy.
Yeah, they're not too young to drink.
Yeah.
Either that or Varen was probably pushing brandy on him back in Edmund's Field.
Oh, you're having tea here. Have a little.
It could have been
a little rowdy, and
mothers,
she's
and
like,
the
"Give 'em
mothers
brandy."
kind of fed the daughters, and then
they're teething. Rub it on
There you
there.
go.
Mm-hmm. That's
That
what
could
it
be
is.
it. Absolutely.
I'll give Tam the
Sam
credit.
is the man. Oh, something I forgot to mention about WatCon. On Sunday, we got to see 2 deleted scenes from season 1.
No way.
I did see that there was something about that on the Twitter sphere.
Wait, so can they be found online now?
I don't know if one of them can or both of them.
Are they worth seeing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I'll tell you
that.
One of them was because how we had like the Egwene with the colors in the pool that was in like that we didn't get in the season, but
but it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got an extended scene of her introduction into the women's circle. So we got them going up into that pool and Nynaeve talking about like all the different things that a woman is. And each time she talked about a characteristic, they pour color into the water and then it flows in and then she comes up with all the colors. And so excellent. Awesome. The other, that was the second one we saw. The first one we saw was when when Egwene comes out like the next morning after she and Rand bang, and Rand is already gone, and they start talk. She and Tam start talking about Kari Althor, Tam's wife, and
Mhm.
how she always like sort of treated Egwene as the daughter she never had. And
Aw.
then they were talking about his loss because they think about this at Beltane. And he said, but you know what? Death is clean, and a cut that's 3 times as deep will heal cleaner than something that's torn. You have his heart, girl.
Oh.
Be careful with it because he's all I have.
Oh, and then she
And
breaks
he's
it.
such a great dramatic. He's
Oh.
such a great dramatic actor. He was so good.
That's wonderful.
I
How
wanna
could
see
that
that
not
one.
make it? Yeah.
Well,
That'd be
here's the
great.
thing. They're both slow scenes. They're both slow emotional
Yeah.
scenes, and they needed it to pick up. They both happened at the beginning, before the Trollocs and everything, and I think they
Yeah.
need to
They
get
clearly never read Jordan.
Yeah.
There's
'cause that's
nothing quick about his books.
slow, quick, slow, quick, quick.
Only the battle scenes. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
so
Oh,
well
man.
worth watching more than once.
Definitely. All right. I'm gonna have to look those
All right.
up.
Okay. So
That's
sorry
awesome.
I interrupted.
No,
get us
that's
back
all
on
right.
track.
I almost forgot. So not only did they give these girls, so the girls are freaking out, and Rand's already
charm.
gone, and Varen's sitting there like all pissed off, like, okay, Rand only picked up one of you. Okay, so I don't know
Yeah.
why everybody else is still freaking out. Like most of y'all didn't even get touched. Like just drink this shit, go to bed, stop whining. And Alana does her move like what Moraine did.
Yep, that's
When
exactly
she
what I
got really
thought about.
big.
The
Oh
charm.
yes, you did.
And
Yep, she
described a little bit
grew
more that
every
obviously she wasn't
word.
actually getting big, but it was like made it seem like she was, and she was, up hunched into the
Up to the
ceiling. She was so
ceiling.
Yeah.
tall at some point. So
With every word as I speak to you, I get larger and larger.
yeah, that was
That's what
a
she
cool
said.
throwback to like an early scene. One of the
Book
first
one.
times we saw the Aes Sedai do anything, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was neat. And all the girls
You
scurry
saw it
off.
from Varen's point of view. You saw it from Varen's point of view, and
Right.
she's like, "I
Yeah.
roll." I know what
Yeah.
they're seeing.
Jeez.
This whole thing again,
She's hitting him with that.
But she was
So-
like, "But it worked." They shut up.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was funny. Varen's getting annoyed by the girls. Kind of like you said, I roll with Alana, and yeah, just a interesting scene.
Well, and then we get the true feelings about all of the men should have been bonded the first chance they had. They should never be allowed to let run loose. And Varen
Are you
is just like,
Are you talking about when Alana and Varen go talk to alone?
Correct. So I'm
Okay.
kind of moving ahead a little
Yeah.
bit because
Go for it.
that
Let's go.
conversation, we've been jumping around in it the whole time. There wasn't much more that really came of it. You have a lot of Varen's thoughts and really her contemplations. Do I support the Dragon Reborn? Do I not? Do we move? Do we stay?
Yeah. Do
What are
we
we
go
gonna do
towards
about
the
these
rebels? Do we go
girls?
towards the tower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, what we need to find more information. That's kind of the thought. And then we can't go anywhere right now. We need to stay so that we don't cause ourselves more issues.
Yeah.
So
they're in a good position to be able to just kind of hold and see what happens. Because let's say they stay around Rand and hang out wherever he is for the next, I'm just making up arbitrary, a month, right? Before they decide, are they going to land on the side of the rebels or the tower? Whenever they end up there and they're like, well, what took you so long to decide? It's very easy to be like, well, I figured we had a unique opportunity to kind of befriend the dragon or find out more information or whatever. So there's all sorts of room to make excuses to stay and wait and see how things play out before they decide. And I think Varen, I got the vibe that Varen recognizes this, and she's in no rush to make a decision. Of course, being a Brown, she just wants to gather as much info as she can. So makes sense. Why rush?
Yeah.
now I did have a question because I didn't really get it. She bonded Rand, but she talked about trying to link him.
Okay, so basically, at the point when they're bonded, one of the things you can do is compel them a certain way.
Okay,
kind of
that's what I thought.
Yes, and she was unable to.
Because his will is so
And she doesn't
strong.
know. She doesn't. They have no idea if it's because he's so strong in the power that, or if it's because he can channel at all. It's not like they're used to bonding men who can channel. They normally just gentle them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
so
they
this is
pretty
pretty
much
new.
just gave him special healing properties. They gave him greater endurance, and then he's got
Absolutely.
this nuisance in the back of his mind to add to the nuisance he already has in the back of his mind, because clearly Luce Theron is in there still going off.
Yeah, let's put more voices in his head. This would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's all we really did.
What could go
Yes.
wrong?
But Luce Theron doesn't like the voice, and he backs away a
No.
little bit.
He's scared of her. He backs off from Alana, and he's like scared of having that Aes Sedai in there.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this is like never been done before, or at least it's so rare that even Luce Theron is like, what the fuck is this? I don't. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna happen? Like, even Luz seems
Thrown
worried,
completely
scared,
off.
/ confused.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the implications of this is. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
And being the reader, we know some important information too. We know that there are convoys coming from both ways to Rand.
Mhm.
So these women and all of these soon-to-be novice will kind of hear from both groups and kind of get to pick a side based on what they hear. So
I mentioned this last week also, Chris, like how screwy things could get real fast. Let's say all these girls from Emmons Field go one way and they side with the Tower, and then Rand ends up siding more with the rebels.
which he will.
We can assume, but like that's gonna, as much as he tried to pretend at the end that I'm no longer Rand, I'm the Dragon Reborn, I don't care, he still has a heart for his people. I mean, Matt's sisters were part of the group. I mean, he's not gonna be able to separate his feelings from that.
Well,
Or it
and
could
you
get
got to
even
think
more
about what you
crazy.
just said. Matt's part of this group, and we know where Matt's going.
Right. Like all sorts of chaos could possibly ensue here. And like it would if you said, what if they all have the opportunity to kind of choose, or Alana and Varen decide to go split ops. One goes one way, the other goes another, and they take some of the girls with them. And that's just going to make it harder for Rand and Matt and
Lord Perrin. Lord Perrin. Make sure
Lord
you get it
Yes,
right.
he's like, oh, why do you keep calling him Lord Perrin, by the
Oh,
way?
man.
I love
Lord
Well,
Perrin.
don't you know?
I love how quick he got put in this place. The women's of Edmund Field do not play. They're like, boy, you wool-headed idiot. You're going to listen to what we got to say. He's like, you're all younger than me. Doesn't matter. We're women. You're still a boy.
So they accept that Perrin is a lord, but Rand can't be the dragon. That's
well, I mean, you have to think about like those are like their nightmare stories. Like they're bad, like
they haven't been given a good history, and they haven't been
of what a dragon
to
is.
They haven't been exposed to the potential good side of the prophecies. It's just all negative.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Well, another thing that Alana and Varen are walking into is Rand's amnesty, and bringing in men who can channel and coming to grips with that. So there's a lot of, unknown with Aes Sedai coming in now, and that's something Rand's going to be dealing with in this chapter when he goes out to the farm. Is like now you've got Aes Sedai coming in to where he is bringing in men who can channel, and what potential, snafus that could be. He doesn't want that to blow up.
And Varen adds another thing I didn't even think about. Talking to Alana, she says he is Ta'veren. He draws when he needs to him. And this is when they're talking about the amnesty and everything. So we have seen where like the numbers have been kind of slow trickling in. But if this is truly what Rand needs, and the pattern is like, yeah, Rand needs this, it's going to happen. And at some point, it's going to snowball.
I mean, it just brought him a whole group of young women to train who are all Edmund Fielders, who already had that innate whether no matter how afraid they are, when it comes down to a fight, you're always going to fight with the people from your neighborhood. You
Oh,
might
so you're
be
thinking
enemies
he's
in the
gonna
hood.
get the loyalty of these new female channelers as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
Man, my brain didn't even go that far, but
I mean, think about that. They're already like Lord Perrin. They're all about Lord Perrin already.
Yeah.
Perrin and Matt, like Matt's a general for him. Perrin is coming in, that they have loyalty to. There are a lot of loyalties coming
Forgetting
together.
the wolves. The wolves are coming. Like,
yeah. I do like the way you said that, Chris, though, because that just made sense. Like when it comes down to it, you're gonna fight for your neighborhood. And I hesitated for a second, and then I was like, no, that's true. If the kids from the street I grew up on needed me tomorrow, I wouldn't even ask, but I would just be like, "Yep,
I'm there.
on my
I
way."
got you.
Wouldn't
I'm
even
going
ask
to a wedding at
questions.
the end of the month from somebody I haven't hung out with in 5 years.
Yep.
Just paid
That's a good
$200 for a suit that I did not have to go be in
Oh,
this
man.
man's wedding.
Oh, is this your new suit? Your new custom?
Oh
suit?
no, this is so the
Or is that
custom
for the
suits
wedding?
my
That's for
wedding.
your wedding.
I
That's
just
for
had to
your-
spend $200 on a rental that I don't know if it's really gonna fit right, but it's gonna fit well enough to be in his wedding at the end of the month.
You make it look good.
Yeah.
You are gonna kill it. You're gonna make the suit look good.
You'll see pictures.
I
Yeah, I mean that's just where we're headed. We're headed to finally the amassing of the forces, and that clued me in when she was like, he's severe and he's bringing these people in. Like they're gonna continue to train these girls. Then you're gonna get the rebels coming, and they're gonna train. And I still have this great big hope that the queen comes back, realizes that Rand is like
more gays.
More gays.
Okay.
I'm hoping
She's
she
so
comes back.
tied up with the white cloaks right now.
I know, but I still feel like.
And by the way, previous chapter, sorry, but last episode, turns out the white cloaks aren't a bunch of nothings. There's at least one leader in the white cloaks that seems to be playing the long game.
Hedronile?
And he's wicked smart.
Hedronile, the leader?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the 5 great captains, by the way.
Yeah, we've got something to worry about, Chris, with the white cloaks.
Yeah.
And people's allegiances are just getting
all over the place.
It's messy. It's really messy.
Okay.
So
but yeah, Morgay, sure. Hopefully she comes back eventually. I don't see that shit happening for a while. She's in a hot mess of a spot right now herself and trying to cover for her kids and
that's true.
Get her own forces together to try and get her kingdom back and
I mean, even from that same lens, Egwene's going to come back eventually, and Elaine's going to take over. I just have this hope that
Elaine's going to take over in Caemlyn.
Mm-hmm. I feel like she's going to end up coming back at some point.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's got to happen.
I think on the female Aes Sedai side, Egwene and Elaine have the best chance of being uniters than anybody else. I think they're focused more in the big picture. Any of our current Aes Sedai, they're so indoctrinated, not just with what the Aes Sedai have been teaching for so long, but with what their Aja, what their plans are and everything.
Yeah.
You just can't trust any one of them.
Something I want to say about trust. That. Go ahead.
I'll say my statement and you say yours and then we'll keep moving.
Okay, good.
A man without trust might as well be dead. Luce Theron giggles. Did that sentence make you laugh? The one person who trusts absolutely nobody and is always yelling, kill, 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 kill. It's like, hey, you gotta trust somebody.
You gotta trust yourself.
Just trust me.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
And Luce, because we're all in here.
I don't want to take this back to personal life, but yeah, I feel the statement and the giggle. It's, I get it. I just don't know how to explain it in words.
That's every day.
Yeah.
That is every day.
Do I want to trust? Yeah. Do I think it's important? Yeah. Am I ever going to?
Nah.
No. No.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. When I first met you two, you were both single and you had been in long-term relationships that had ended not exactly well.
Yeah, a little bit of trauma.
A little bit of trauma there. You both we're kind of like, nope, don't trust, because these women could, any woman could be. I've been through this. However, you've learned a lot in life
Sure.
to narrow down who can I trust. And it might be a smaller amount, and it might be like, now I know what to look for. Now I know I can trust this person.
Yeah.
So I
bit.
think that could be, if you trust absolutely no one, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, that's a wasted life.
Right. So
I'll give it to you. I completely trust Chanel. I mean, I let
Yeah.
her drive, and I don't close my eyes. I don't hold the oh shit bar. So I grip the little sidebar on the door a little bit every now and then, but I'm not outright grabbing the handle. So I agree with that statement.
So for me, that's kind of where it is. I mean, Lews Therin at least had his 100 companions that he went into battle with.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
He had to be trusting all these channelers to work together. So there's many ways you could look at that. Now, what I was going to say about Elaine and Egwene and what we've seen with them so far, they're not leaders right now, but they didn't train all that long in the White Tower, and they've had a chance to go out in the world. And they both have been people to bring in other channelers, they have like the sea folk they've like been in contact with. They've had talked to it, made friends with a Shan woman, but they have the Aiel, and that like have not been brought into the White Tower, people that they're willing to work with and bring in and bring people together. That for those two people, that's an argument that can be made for what you just said, Ian.
Yeah, about you did a better job explaining it, but they're definitely uniters. They're if you have something to bring to the table, they don't care where you're coming from. Bring it to the table. Let's talk. Let's make it work. Yeah, and I don't get that vibe from any other Aes Sedai.
Right, and they haven't been indoctrinated so much into the Aes Sedai yet that they were allowed, through circumstances of being forced out early, to go make some of their own decisions.
Yep.
And choices about these people without being told, these are the lines, this is
choices.
Us.
We don't use that word. We don't use that word on the show.
That's a bad word.
You can't say choices.
I'm sorry.
We'll bleep it out later.
I'll drink to that. I'll drink for that.
Yeah. There you go. Jake missed the bleep button. He was supposed to go boo.
Are either of you drinking anything other than agua or soda tonight?
I'm rocking that H2O, baby.
I am H2O all the way.
So hydrated.
Well, I have a Founder's Breakfast Stout that I brought back from Vance's house because I couldn't get it in my area, and I've been saving it, so I decided to break it out for you guys.
I appreciate you. I tipped the scale, so I'll be honest. So, when we first started this, I had been busting butt, feeling great, got super fit. Then the last, year and some change or so, with the back injuries and all the things going on, I completely let myself go. And I stepped on the scale and saw 400.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was like, no. So that was a week ago. I'm back down to 390, so 10 pounds in a week. And I will keep pushing, but I have got to make myself accountable and get the weight off me. That way I can keep doing stuff like this, because though I am healthy, I'm not healthy. That's not healthy to have this much weight on your body.
Yeah.
So.
And we're not getting younger.
No,
that's
we're
been
not.
My thing.
The weight is getting off so much slower now than it did in the past.
Yep.
And I'm not even at 35 yet. So I'm like,
yep.
And I want to have kids one day. All this stuff is going to impact all of that. Like, I don't have any issues right at the moment. I don't want there to be any. And the older you get, the more possible that is. So
right. No, the knees and the back, they don't like that bulkiness as you get older. Yep. I'm learning that the hard way. So you'll get there.
Confirm.
Yep.
Okay, are we done with this POV?
We are.
Mal was done with these two women before we even started. Let me tell you, the trust. I know you're saying we need to trust. I don't trust them right now.
That's fine. You don't have to.
No trust there.
And do they trust Rand? I don't know. We'll see.
Fact of the matter is I've been done with this chapter. We're gonna get to a point like so. I've already alluded to some of the things that are happening in the point of view. More or less, I'm interested in knowing what Time thinks he could do to call on people that Rand himself can't do. Is it just about dedicating the time, or is Time holding some cards close that we just don't know about? I know he says he's what he's going to do, but is there something more? Does he have some other trick up his sleeve, or is he trying to get away to kind of get a break so he can like be an informant and let other people know what's going on?
Yeah. Well, so not necessarily conspiracy theory, Chris. we dabbled on it before. He's still playing it too cool.
Yeah.
And he's acting too loyal to Rand too quickly. And it makes me suspect him. He's being put in charge of not just training, but he's getting ready to go out and collect more dudes. And because Rand isn't doing it himself, Taim has this opportunity to train him in such a way that it works in his favor, or to influence them in such a way where they're more loyal to him than they are to Rand.
Mm-hmm.
And while we haven't exactly seen evidence of that yet, he's in a position to do that. So,
and he picked up using the gates really well, and he can bring horses and other people through the gate with him. He's confident in his own ability and use of the power that he feels like he can do this after a couple weeks of being with Rand.
Yeah. And if he turns out to be some Forsaken, it wouldn't be surprising. It would actually make the scene a couple chapters ago that much more hilarious when Rand is like, and by the way, be careful if any of them are learning too quick. They could be a Forsaken or Dark friend sneaking up on us. And Taim goes, oh no, Forsaken? Are you serious? Meanwhile, like, it's him. He's the Forsaken.
Yes. I know you said that before, and I want to be like, no, Jordan wouldn't write that way. But maybe he wouldn't write that way, but he is writing that way to throw us off.
Could
throw
be.
People like me off.
Could be.
Well, I mean, there are various places around the world that we've seen Forsaken, right? We've seen some, like one in Ilion, and we've seen one in Camelin, like in powerful positions. So where else can we've seen one in, Tyr, like Lords of Tyr. So you have to kind of start thinking for the rest of them, where might they be? And
not all of them are going to operate the same way.
Yeah.
Like Megideon kind of hiding in the shadows.
He's not in any particular place.
Right. So does it make sense that there would be one that would intentionally play the part of the fool, or be in a position like Taim, like I just want to find a way to get close to him, and this is my angle, sort of thing, and maybe I can influence him without him finding out
like
who
a
I am.
sweeper.
Yeah.
Someone that can get close. That would be.
Here's the thing. Let's just go by
Dread himself.
Let's go by vibes alone. I had better vibes with Asmodean helping out Rand than I do Taim helping out Rand. I just don't have good vibes here.
So why is that?
Because it's too easy.
Because Asmodean's dead, so now I can say I trust him. And Taim's alive, which means I don't trust him.
It's been too easy. He agreed too quick. He's doing everything Rand asked him, even though clearly he's got more control of the power than Rand.
Well, he's been channeling longer. He has been channeling longer than Rand.
And that's a red flag too.
But yeah, he's not
as
crazy
old
yet.
as he is, and I don't know.
Or he might be really crazy, and his crazy so crazy that he looks sane.
It's possible. I mean,
all
crazy doesn't look either, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when we move into Rand's point of view, he's like just trying to distance himself as fast as possible. So he knows he can't make a gateway until he gets to a spot he knows well. So if there's a spot in the palace, so he outdistances all of the Aiel, everyone else on horses, everybody. He just outdistances them all. and gets in there, makes a gateway, and then just like falls to the ground. And he's like, I can still point to her. She's right there. She's still in the back of my head. So this is him learning about what has happened to him. He's like, I wish I had Lan to talk to because
Yeah.
I don't know enough about this. I don't know.
How is he not worried that she's immediately going to know where he is also, and also immediately know where?
Well, he does ask that question to himself.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the first place he ran was the last place he'd want her to know about.
Well, she
So-
doesn't know. She knows the location. She doesn't know the purpose of the location.
Yeah. I wish he'd have been a little smarter about it. Like,
I mean, I agree. That was my first thought.
It's like he got a tracker slapped on him, and he just ran right back to the hidey hole. You know,
To the base.
right? So maybe not the smart. I get it. He was panicking. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I'm actually surprised he didn't just vaporize Alana and Varen.
That was my thought. Just get rid of
I still can't believe after what she did that he didn't just go.
I
zoom.
cut off her flow.
You just got finger blasted.
I would cut off her. I wouldn't kill her. I'd cut her flow off. That way.
You mean like I don't
Yeah, he could have
Because
finger
you
blasted them both.
started blasting away. So we don't know if he knows how exactly stilling and
Sure,
But he
like
can
we
block
know
her at
we know
least.
he's we
he could
probably know
shield.
he knows how to like shield and fight it,
Yeah.
but I don't know if his hang up about women would include not wanting
Oh,
to
that's true. I forgot.
Yeah, totally cut him off.
kill them as well. You know?
Yeah, I forgot he had that thing.
That's true.
He does have a hang up about women in general.
But if he was going to finger blast a woman, that would be a good reason to.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
So he runs away and he goes out to the White
farm.
Tower, the Black Tower, and he realizes that he takes hold of Saidin again, and he realizes that the void's not going to make any difference. He still feels her, regardless of whether or not he's in the void. There's a lot of things he's used the void to kind of dull everything around him
Mm-hmm.
and kind of bring it in close. And he realizes he can't do that as a defense against her.
Yeah.
Because she's not on the inside of that.
Yeah.
Um,
She's part of his conscious now.
right.
I don't know if you're willing to say this. I wouldn't expect it to be too spoilery, but along the way, are we going to get a better, deeper understanding of what happens when they bond? Like what?
There
the
will be
connection
more.
is? And I know he's going to learn about it, but like the science behind it,
There will be more bonding going on where I think you'll see it more up close from the person who's doing the bonding.
Yeah, or maybe a better description of what's happening, or
You will. There are other instances in the series of people bonding where you get it from people who are bonding and being bonded, who understand what's going on. So you will get more. You will get more about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have so many questions that unless Jordan decides to give it to us, there's no way I'm going to figure this one out. But
yeah, there's definitely more to come.
Okay. I figured as much.
All right.
That's
So
pretty
when Chris read that quote about a man without trust might as well be dead, and then he giggles, his insane giggle.
good.
What did one thing Rand notices is only one woman left of the women who were there before, because only one husband was a channeler. Out of those who were there before, there are, I think, 7 men channeling who are in a lesson right now with Taim.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about the way they're being trained? Do you have any comments? Do you have anything to say about what Taim says about the particular training? Anything about that?
He's driving them towards insanity. But
Okay.
being
What do you
that
mean?
he's severe, and so I mean, we know that the more they use the power, the more they're tainted. The more they're tainted, the
Sure.
less sanity they hold. But Rand needs them trained as weapons and really nothing more.
Quickly.
Yeah, that almost makes him kind of dark. He really is turning these men strictly
Yeah.
into tools.
Well, he's laughed about it before when these men first got here about, he used to be so pissed about Moraine and everybody being manipulative, and here he is doing it, and he's sacrificing people's lives, and even though he hasn't sacrificed them yet, he knows he's going to. People are going to die. These guys are going to go crazy. He just doesn't care anymore.
Why did these men show up in the first place? They didn't have to come.
Well, you got your Taviran-ness. You got, gosh, I don't know.
Well, power.
Power.
A, they started exhibiting a power that they couldn't control. B, they want power because if they can gain power and they can gain insight and be on the good side of the dragon, then they can become rich. They can take care of that family. They can,
And it's not that they had glimmers of the power before. None of them had channeled one bit.
Oh,
It was Taim that found that they had the potential to, and then started training them. So I guess that's a great question. I'd have to give the wussy answer of it being the Taviran thing. Trying to
why, Ian, did you join the military when you did? Answer me that question, because this has a lot to do with why they are doing what they're doing.
Well, I guess there could be some of that. I was right after 9/11. I went to the recruiter's office, and I was, at the time I, wasn't married. I was young, able, single, all that jazz. Flags were everywhere. Go America.
Yes,
sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels a sense of duty, responsibility.
Well, I can tell you that everyone in the world feels the touch of the Dark One and knows that we're headed towards the last battle. Like, if you have any clue at all, know that's what's happening to the world. And it could be that Taviran pool that's tugging on those who feel like, I want to fight. And
let me do something.
And if they're going to be tested, they have heard the stories about men channelers going mad, right? They've heard the stories. Yeah. And they're like, well, I could die on a battlefield just with a sword or whatever.
True.
Or I could maybe go mad in the last battle, die that way. But they're making a choice, and they don't know whether or not they can channel. They're just going to fight for the dragon, one way or another.
It's that illusion of control.
Yeah.
You're making a choice. It's my decision. Luce Theron giggles.
It's so funny, by the way. You say it was right after 9/11. I was still in middle school.
Oh, little young pup.
He's like, yeah, it was right after 9/11.
That was my freshman year of college.
Yeah.
My children were 2 and 4, and we had to have conversations about it.
Yeah.
Stuff that was on TV. Yeah. Only one of my children remembers that. So.
Yeah.
And it's the one who went with me to Watcom. Anyway, so we're down to 7 total. He's had some more come in since that last, but these are just people who've come in on their own. And you mentioned it before, Ian, that Taim wants to go out and recruit. He says, if I can make gateways, I can travel to maybe 3 villages in a day. And they talk about, Rand asks him, well, what are you going to do? Just walk in and say what? What's his plan?
Yeah, he wants to channel. Yeah, but he's like, well, I'll be a little more suave than that. I'll just see who supports the dragon sort of thing and go from there. Which Rand kind of chuckles like, well, that's not too much better, but I guess it'll work. So this is where I'm again back and forth with trusting Taim. His argument is too persuasive, too to the point, very mathematical, and they're talking about the numbers game of like, well, we want to be able to match this many Aes Sedai, we want to be able to match the tower, and in order to do that at this rate, it's going to take us this many years, sort of thing. Or I don't know, I don't remember exactly how he broke the math down.
He said at this rate we could.
Yeah,
he said at this rate we could make it in 6 years. If you let me do this, I promise you we can do it in 1.
Yeah. So it's like again, Rand's being given a choice. It's ultimately his decision, but there's really no choice. The way it's presented to him.
So you're saying this chapter should be called Choices?
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, no chapter should be. It should be choices with air quotes, parentheses around
Okay.
it, and maybe that would count. But Rand is definitely getting, I would say, manipulated, because there are other possible ways. Like more men could show up, and if Rand took the time to understand what ta'veren is and trusted that the pattern would help give him what he needs when he needs it, sort of thing, and he went more that route, then maybe he could just sit tight and let those
But
that he
what if
really
what
needs
he
come to him.
needed? What if what he needed was someone who had already been channeling for a while and could do what Taim is doing and go out into the world and recruit? Maybe that's what he needed from the pattern.
Yeah, that's kind of where I lean
It's
to, but
possible.
I still think he's a dark friend, but I also lean towards that thought that you just mentioned. He needed somebody to take Asmodean's place,
Yeah.
and then he comes. So that's where Jordan really kind of shakes it up a little bit, because, depending on how much you believe in the pattern,
Right.
you're going to sway one way or the other.
Yeah. Got to be careful
What
with
would you-
that. Like,
What
if
would you have done
every
in Rand's place? What would you have done in Rand's place? What decision would you have made?
I mean, he made the decision I would have made. You're taking a gamble. You're putting this man in charge, assuming that you can beat him if you need to. And he's making progress. He's weeded people out that don't need to be there.
Mhm.
And he's got 7 of them already blowing stuff up.
I think early on, he needs to be more hands-on with it.
I agree with
I think
that.
early on, trusting Taim to handle all of this recruitment and training is very dangerous.
But we know he's also running between 3 and 4 cities a day,
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's hopping
trying
around.
to control everything. It's very difficult to do.
Right.
This is a big move, though. He should be more hands-on, I think. I think that's the
Agreed.
biggest difference. Yeah, maybe you succumb to the math and, okay, we got to do something, but
Yeah.
he should be watching every bit of it.
All right. Now, Taim did bring in, okay, now what are we going to do with all of the ones who can't channel who come in? He has a good idea. What's his idea to do with all these other people who just come to the dragon but can't channel?
Operation Human Shield? I must have skimmed over that. Do you remember that, Chris?
Do you remember that, Chris?
Those who fail, I'll send to Camelin. It's time you start raising an army of your own instead of depending on others.
Oh, yeah.
Bashir could change his mind at any point in time. This is why I'm like, maybe this is the ta'veren giving him what he wants, but you're also flooding the city full of people that you don't know, and we don't know who he's going to bring in. He could be bringing in a ton of dark friends.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you have 20 guys come in and 5 can channel, then or 2 can channel, you have 15 to 18 who can be trained to hold a spear.
Could also be dark friends.
Who can be trained to, but anybody can be a dark friend,
Yeah.
and they're all coming in. So
Yeah,
Is
might as
it
well pump up your
is it
numbers.
a bad thing to say that? Okay, so we did have all these Saldeans come in with Lord,
Mhm.
right? And they're like really good horsemen, primarily. It's always good to have a bunch of infantry, people who aren't
It
trained
is.
to the
Well, and
horse.
even Bashir gave us a hint. If something happens to him, there's no guarantee that army's going to continue to follow
Correct.
Rand. They
As
might go
the-
back to
'cause the-
Zenobia
Right.
and back to Saldia.
Because
But we
not
know what's
everybody
really
not
gonna
everybody
happen.
agrees with what Bashir's doing.
We know what's going to happen.
What?
Son-in-law is going to show up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
Parents
mean
gonna,
Lord
parents gonna be in
Parent?
charge of those
Lord
armies.
Perrin's going to come with his wife,
Mhm,
and that's going to solidify that bond right there.
Yeah. That's
mhm.
true. So that army will be on lock. And
Yeah.
Fail will be running that show. Let's be
Exactly. Let's
honest.
be
Fail's
real.
gonna be running that.
File already runs everything.
Yep.
I'm telling you, Perrin needs her.
Yeah.
He needs her. He
Mm.
needs her training and her background. And that's part of his Tabarin, I believe.
Yeah.
Drawing her to him because he needs all of that she was trained to.
And Rand
Yeah.
just keeps pushing off what he needs.
Yeah.
You know, he had a moment there where, we had oh goodness.
Well,
her
him
name
and
just left.
Elaine.
Avienda?
Avienda. Yeah, he's pushing Avienda off and, not really seeking Elaine or Min out, but Min's on the way. Like his collection's slowly coming closer.
Mhm. But once he watched Avienda die, he was very traumatized by that. And he's like,
Yeah.
now, should he let them make their decision not to be near him?
That's
As a woman, I'm going to say yes.
yeah.
You don't get to decide for them. You could say, hey, this is why I don't want you near me. I would
Also-
prefer you do this other thing and not be near me because of this. And they could use you against me.
Yeah, and he has a workaround. Like he knows if Avienda dies, all he has to do is finger blast somebody else really hard, and she'll come back to life.
He's like, I figured it out.
So,
Blasted.
I mean, don't accidentally finger blast her, but just somebody else nearby,
Yeah.
and she could come back.
Whoever caused her death.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Right. It's got to be more direct.
You only got to finger blast a little bit because only got to go back the few minutes that she.
That's true. A proportionate amount of
finger
finger
blast.
blasting.
Just
Just
not too little,
right.
not too much.
Not too much. Not too little.
Just
Yeah.
right.
Giggity.
Gotta get that sweet spot.
It is a science.
Okay.
That's the end of that chapter.
So Time goes, I need horses. And then Luce Theron giggles and Rand goes, you shall have your horses. Because
The
of
end.
math. That's really
All
what
right.
it was.
All right.
Here
So
we
he
go.
says he gives the okay to. He says, "I will match the White Tower for you in less than a year. Every man a weapon." This is what Taim says, and so Rand hesitates a
Very
little
full
bit,
of
but
himself.
you
Oh,
know,
wait, we
you know-
skipped over that little blip where Rand was like, all right, don't let any of the guys mix it up with Aes Sedai. Don't talk to them at all. In fact,
Oh,
don't go
yeah.
anywhere near where Aes Sedai could be. And Time was like, Time looks at the dudes and was like, I mean, they could smash an Aes Sedai with those boulders. I only gotta,
You know, just
tweak their
explode
training
ahead.
a little bit.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
gonna explode ahead. He's
it's
all
not,
gonna do is
that's not that
retweak it.
different.
Yeah.
It's almost the same kind of
Oh
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me look back. There's some stuff he says.
It was quite hilarious.
Rand is very adamant, like, nope. And so kudos to Rand. He has all the reason to be on the warpath here with at least one Aes Sedai. And he's very adamant about not making enemies or making worse enemies of any Aes Sedai right now. So, which I guess is smart. But
Yeah.
I think of myself in that situation, and my emotions would probably get the best of me, and I'd be picking a fight here.
Well, I mean, Rand very seriously just came from a situation where he could have killed a couple of Aes Sedai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And he
Great
doesn't.
restraint.
He knows he needs them.
yeah,
He knows the last battle needs them.
yeah,
He's like, if I wanted them dead, I could kill them myself.
yeah. That was his
Don't
comment.
want them dead.
Yep.
And one of the things that was interesting that when Taim was saying that Bashir could be gone, he said, and what about what about the so-called Aiel? Like, he doesn't trust them either. That's why he's like, you should have your own army that I'm going to recruit for you.
He's trying to sow that seed of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
He's a manipulator.
Do you think maybe he wants Rand to like only trust him and the channelers and not anyone else?
Well, he wants the throne back. In his mind, he can overtake Rand still.
Taim, eventually?
Yeah.
I don't think Taim is interested in being a number 2.
No, not at all.
He's not a bottom.
No.
No.
Got it.
But he'll
Okay.
play the role of bottom if he thinks eventually it can
Go to
earn
What's
him
that?
that other
He
position.
must have flipped that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
What better way than to turn him over to the other dark friends and then
Turn him
rise
over.
the ranks?
Giggity.
Are we? Do we want to take a little break? Do you guys need a break, or do you just want to keep going?
I can keep going.
I keep going. If you haven't noticed, I keep slouching more and more. I am so comfortable right now, and I'm afraid to stand up because my back. I've had a very bad day with my back today.
Oh, okay.
So I'm worried if I stand up, I'll fall over. And once I fall over on the ground, show's over. I'm not getting back on
Do you
here.
need
So
a break?
now I need alcohol, but I can't drink here. So yeah,
Oh, on base.
yeah.
Supposed
Well, I'm in the recovery program. I'm not supposed to drink at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can keep going. I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All
All
that
right.
to
So
say.
chapter 12. Interestingly enough, okay, this is called questions and answers. Interestingly enough, the chapter icon is the white flame of Tarvalon, which is the other half of the Aes Sedai symbol. So I thought that was interesting that we had these two together. We had the
Parallel.
dark side and the light side. Yeah.
Do we
And
really get answers in this chapter, though? Do we? Really?
I was about to say, where were the answers at?
I know. I'm waiting. Like, maybe we'll discover them. We have Dana with us, so we got Zool, and I have all the faith that if anybody's going to help us discover what we missed, it
Yeah.
will be her.
all right, so Nynaeve and Elaine are in Saladar. And so we've hopped over to there, Saladar being in the southwest, just north of Ebudar. And what we have here is them kind of looking out the window of their little room, and they're looking towards the little tower. And there has been an emissary from the White Tower to the rebels in Saladar, and they've been in conference, and they've been trying to eavesdrop, but something unsuccessfully. Apparently, some of the things that they've been learning from Moghedien, they've shared,
Yeah.
and there's now a good eavesdropping like barrier that they can't get through because they shared.
Which
how
was
to
really, like, they're dense. First, they're sharing too much.
Uh-huh.
Like, because so this is where my mind would have gone. This is just me. I don't know which way you're going to go. I don't know if y'all are going to go and support the tower. I don't know if y'all are going to go and support Rand. I don't have to give you anything I'm learning.
But that's been the problem with the Aes Sedai all along. They're so divided. They can't be strong because, yeah, there's a tower and all these sisters and girl power. Nope, not at all. They've been all at each other's throats.
Blue, green, purple, maroon, burgundy, all the different colors.
And we found out so Nynaeve was noticing as she was teaching these things to the Aes Sedai. Remember, she noticed that some of them had like a little look on their face like, oh, I already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nynaeve's thinking was like, if you knew that, how come nobody else knows that? And then she's like, oh, so everybody here is keeping their secrets. Everybody's got some aces up their sleeves, some stuff they don't share.
No,
and
they're not keeping any secrets, Ian. They're not keeping secrets. They're just not telling all of their truths.
So this is what I teach my children, have taught them. There are lies of commission and there's lies of omission. And they are both equally bad. If there's something you should tell and don't, it's just as bad as saying something that isn't true. In fact, sometimes that causes a whole lot more problems than telling a bold-faced lie.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I would have been omitting a lot of what I knew and keeping it to myself. That way I can use it to my advantage when the time comes. And so, like, this whole situation where they're trying to, like, break the barrier, it's something new that they're trying to learn that I don't know if Moghedien is actually teaching them how to do properly. They don't even know. Like, that would be the... Huh?
I mean, so yeah, from your point, what you're saying from her point of view, I 100% would do that if I was her.
Yeah, I'd be messing with them. I'd be like, well, I'm going to teach you because you asked me, but I'm going to teach you enough to fulfill the requirements of my necklace so I don't get spanked.
But no more.
But no more.
Right.
And the fact that they've become so dependent on their captive is like crippling.
wonder if they're gonna have one of these moments. I guess they kind of already have here and there, but of realizing like, okay, Mogideon, not even the most powerful of the Forsaken, but pretty powerful. And Mogideon is giving them all of these amazing things, but they realize it's not everything, and she's
Yeah.
holding a lot back. So that just puts into perspective how much there is to know,
Mhm.
how much the other Forsaken probably know,
Mhm.
and what they're up against. Like, it's should be very humbling. But
Yeah.
also, it's all the more reason why they need numbers. They need teamwork, Chris. They need to share this stuff. And they, instead of worrying about who's on my side, who's not on my side, we need the uniters to bring everyone together. I mean, everything I'm gathering, that's the whole concept of preparing for this last battle. That's what
That's
the
true.
White Cloaks are trying to do. They're actually trying to unite everybody. That's what Rand's trying to do. He wants to unite everybody. They might
Mhm.
all be going about it the wrong way, but there's an understanding that when that last battle comes, everybody's got to be fighting
We are
together, or
one.
this ain't going to happen.
We must be
So-
swift as the coursing river,
But it's
with
got
all
to
the strength of a great typhoon.
start somewhere, you know. So, anywho,
They need a good cross dresser.
that's right, Corporal Klinger.
Okay, so we
Sorry.
have
There was a lot of boring stuff in the opening of
Elaine.
the chapter too.
Elaine tries to hand off the Adam to Nynaeve, so she can go teach a novice class. So as an accepted, she's teaching novice classes. Nynaeve cannot channel at will, so she has to work with someone to try to break her block and do other things.
Yeah,
And she has been set to go to these two Aes Sedai, Delana and somebody else.
yeah. One of them wants perfectly
A
neat
gray and a
notes.
brown, maybe.
Janya.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
wants perfectly
Yeah.
neat notes. The other one wants
And
them
she gets it
quickly and
backwards.
doesn't care. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the big things I notice about Nynaeve in this whole thing is she's very much down on herself and downplaying and like, I wish I was brave like other people.
She's
And it
being
kind of,
naive.
she's very, very much down on herself the whole time she's in her head. And she's looking to potentially get the heck out of Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She talks with
Yeah.
Brigida a little bit about this. And so I want you to think about, why has Nynaeve gone there? What is it that's making Nynaeve want to run?
Well, so you have first off Egwene having all of these great levels of success all of her own.
Okay.
And all of Nynaeve's measures of success are in relation to what Moghedien, how you say it, has given her. So she feels less than already. And
Even
then,
even though she's the one who trapped Moghedien, a Forsaken.
but she tracked her using what she would consider a cowardice way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you put that on top of the fact that Moghedien has this conversation with her about maybe you need to go to Rand. Maybe you and Elaine should go to Camelin. Like, she could be queen. You could be with him. Like, what do you think's going to happen when they do finally find out about me? She's now being manipulated by her captive.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mental warfare.
It's good manipulation because Nynaeve was already kind of feeling like a fraud.
And to top it all off, like you're saying, her block is not gone. She's supposed to have all this amazing power, and she can't use it at will.
She's still so limited. Yep. They're all gonna laugh at you. Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's obviously, and maybe this is part of Jordan's build up to finding out what her actual block is. And maybe it's something just horrific. and then we're gonna feel like shit that we ever gave Nynaeve shit for having this block. But I kind of feel like that's part of the buildup we're getting here, because you want to be like, Nynaeve, just face it, stop running. What's your problem? And it's gonna happen. She's gonna stumble into it. She's gonna blurt it out in one of these lessons, something like that, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh.
Well, and then there's also the fear that Mogadine's going to go ahead and kill her.
What do you mean?
Like, she doesn't have the bracelet on, so she doesn't know what abilities Mogadine has.
Oh yeah.
When
In
she
that
herself
moment,
is
she
not-
realizes
in that
she's
moment.
not wearing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she realizes why is Moghedien
Her
being
attitude's
so
different.
like
So
attitude
straightforward.
because I'm not wearing the bracelet. Now
Yeah.
she does know that Moghedien cannot channel. She cannot channel unless the person holding the bracelet
Allows
allows it.
Yeah.
Allows it. And so she knows at least that much, but she suddenly feels vulnerable because she knows how powerful this person is.
Mhm.
And she realizes from things that Moghedien is saying that
they've been too open.
they've been way too open in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you guys have been saying this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot that, oh man, all like they hide their little bickering from all the other Aes Sedai, but they're doing it right in front of Moghedien.
In
Like,
front of the enemy.
what are you doing?
One of the top 13.
Yeah. Stuff some air in her ears or something.
Yeah.
I mean, geez.
Seriously.
Make her do it herself. I would love to make her
Yeah.
like put her fingers in her ears and jump around like a bunny until they're done talking or something. That would be hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anywho, so this whole section, I mean, we're hitting it. It didn't excite me very much. Not that it wasn't important, but, and I say this in some parts, kind of all predictable. No wow moments. The whole Nynaeve thing, it's just more of the same.
Here's the thing that we get though. In this, you can be sure you have my best interest at heart. This, holding her hand to the necklace, will hold me in Caemlyn as well as here. Slavery there is better than death here, but don't take too long to decide. If the so-called Aes Sedai resolve to return to the tower, what better gift to take than the Amyrlin seat than a woman who's so close to Rand al'Thor and Elaine? Like, that's really what it's all about. She's trying her hardest to save her own hide.
Sure.
And she has gathered from, because she's not just listening to them, she's been around all these other Aes Sedai that she's doing chores for. So she's heard some things and seen some things. And so she knows that they're on the top of the list for people to hand over if they return to the tower.
And they've always been.
Proxy, that they'll notice Moghedien, and then boom, she's dead.
When Nynaeve had that realization right when they came into the rebel encampment, I feel like we're talking about Star Wars now. But anyways, she's like, yeah, when we were out and about, like, you know, masquerading as Aes Sedai, we were doing some big girl shit on our own, doing amazing things. Hell, I captured a Forsaken, and Elaine had already made a whatchamacallit? Tongriel. Like, just doing all this awesome shit. But the second they get around Aes Sedai, they're back to being peons. Nothing. They're being used. They're being treated like shit. So Nynaeve already had this feeling, and Elaine probably as well. And now Moghedien's kind of playing on that and putting pressure on that point. So, yeah, Moghedien's trying to save herself, but she's not really saying stuff that's not true.
But that's the best kind of manipulation, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there is truth in it, so it's believable, so you can lead the person on.
Sure. It was, well, Nynaeve needs to be, they all need to be cognizant of that. But at least so far, I don't think she's wrong. I think I think these girls would be far better off, kind of like Egwene, just not being around Aes Sedai. I've yet to see benefit of that at all. The tower politics just complicates everything.
Okay, so looking towards the last battle, do you think that they need to be fully Aes Sedai before they get there? Will that
No.
benefit them? You don't want you'd be rather not that they like go all the way through the ranks and become full Aes Sedai.
Not if
And
it involves taking the
start a-
3 oaths. The 3 oaths is
Yeah.
the worst thing they could have ever done. I feel like the 3 oaths was something that some Black Aja came up with early on. Like
Yeah.
it's got to be like
yes,
there's
yes.
no benefit to it at all.
Yep. It's
Yes.
just to keep them under control. We're going to keep the power in the world.
Yeah,
And we're going to have puppets for when we need them.
we're gonna make them think they're playing a role or
Okay.
whatever. But yeah, it's
Okay, this has been one of my theories for a long
yeah,
time
yeah,
because the Black Aja was started like 2,000 years ago or something by
Yeah.
Shamael.
yeah. This ain't a new
And
thing.
some of
They've
the
been
crap
around.
that goes on in the White Tower that divides everybody, that makes them not work as well within the world, I swear
Seems
is
intentional.
Black Aja shit.
Yep. So
Mhm.
I'm with you on that one.
do they? Are there things they can learn? Do they need these other female channelers? Yes, I think that's all important. But I think much like when we were in the Waste and Rand first came out of Rodian, and we're talking about how, all right, he's supposed to like break them, destroy them, and we were talking about how like, well, maybe that's metaphorical, and just what he's going to destroy is their way of life, what it has been these
What it
many
means
years.
to be an
And
ideal,
there's
or
just going to be huge changes. Like that needs to happen with our female channelers and the White Tower. For
Okay.
them to get with the program, they need to let go of 99.9% of what they thought they knew. And they need to get on board with
See you later, tree.
the way things actually are now.
love you, Tree.
Toodles.
Okay, so
Yeah, where
one
we
thing
at?
that Naive feels when she's walking around is it just people just seem to be wasting time sitting there in Saladar.
Mm.
Like that's one of the things that we pick up with her walking through, and
And she's
then-
also got this level of issue with this the girl she brought with her,
Nicola. it
Nicola. Yeah, so like you have Nicola, who I think she's going to play a greater role in the future. She's like weighing and measuring out Nynaeve and Elaine because she has dirt on them, and she's rising in the ranks pretty quickly because of her own aptitude.
Mhm.
So, you know, they said had it not been for Elaine and Nynaeve, she would have been an exceptional youth.
Find. Yes.
So there's that.
So she's got some built-in resentment, and she
Yeah.
has dirt on them,
Mhm.
and she is not treating them with the respect that a novice should treat and accept it.
No. And it's all kind of crazy.
Yep. And another person they brought in was Ariana. They brought in the three. They brought in Moghedien, Nicola, and Arena. I don't know how to say her name,
Yeah.
but she is now hanging around Birgitta, dressing like her, carrying a bow, and now she wants to be like a hunter for the, like she was a hunter for the horn, and so.
Yeah.
This is where those three people are that they've brought in, and they have all developed other. They're no longer like indebted or feel indebted or whatever to Nynaeve and Elaine.
Yeah, I skipped over that whole. I just realized the whole interaction with Birgitta.
Yeah, I was going to go back to Birgitta.
So I like Brigitta's kind of reaction, not so much about Arena or whatever you pronounce her, however you pronounce her
Ariana.
name. Ariana.
There you go. We can go Ariana.
Ariana is kind of Brigitte's like, just don't worry about her. What's going on? What do we need to do? What's up? Nynaeve's like, we got to get out of here. We got to go. Like, let's let's get some horses together.
Brigitte's
how
like,
long
yeah,
can
I'll go get Uno.
Yeah. And she's like, no, not Uno. She's like, but he's devilishly handsome and I want to jump his bones. So we have to bring him along. And it'd be good to have some strapping men with or without armor. I prefer without armor.
Uno's always winking at me and it gets me fired up.
So that exchange, Brigitte pretty much calls her out for kind of being a coward again.
Yeah. In a bit, she does.
Yeah.
But then she's also like, I get it. We'll make something happen, but I don't understand what your issue is with Uno. We're going to need that. We know where you're going. We're going to need the protection. You can't really channel, even though you can channel. Like, I can't do it all on my own. So,
well,
I hate
he
the fact-
basically says to her, like, okay, so Tom and Julian are good men. Like, if you don't want to take the Saldaean soldiers who are like badass soldiers and nobody would mess with them, right? If they're just there, nobody's going to mess with them. Otherwise, it's going to be just a few women and maybe Tom and Julian. One of them's an old man. It's like, so they're good men, but the best way to avoid trouble is to make sure no one wants to trouble you. A dozen or so Shanarans.
Don't be a target of opportunity.
Yes. And so I don't understand you in Uno. He's tough and he'd follow you and Elaine into the pit of doom. And besides, he's a well set up fellow. Yeah.
He's got well-turned calves.
Yeah, she likes the tough, ugly ones.
Yeah.
So
I also don't understand Nynaeve's thing with Uno. At first, I thought maybe she just wanted to travel really sneakily. Sneakily. That's not what I'm looking for. I swear I'm drinking water. Incognito, not stand out. And maybe that was the reason. But like, I don't know. I'd want to have them with me if you're traveling. Yeah. Everybody's gathering armies with them. Everybody's got channelers and an army. So you need to bring the same to the table. Like,
well, and they're like groups of refugees and dragon sworn and whatever, just roaming the countryside.
She needs to not feel less than, though. And by implying that she needs Uno and the guys is implying that she can't do it herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is crazy. She has all this self-doubt when we're in her perspective. She even doubts the relationship she has with people. She's second-guessing, like always battling for power and control with other people, but second-guessing what they're thinking. Even this thing with Brigitte, she's like, yeah, don't tell Uno. And then immediately she's thinking like, yeah, she's probably already run off to tell Elaine and going to get Uno, and Uno's just going to meet up with them, even though she said don't bring them. So like, that's
going to be the break right there.
There's all this doubt and everything.
End up coming to her and like swooning her.
What?
And then boom, she can use her power.
Oh, well, break her block.
Yeah.
Break her guac? Is that what we're calling it these days?
Her mental block.
The dam block. I think you said guac. I was
all the blocks.
I think Chris was saying they're going to knock the boots. And,
all the blocks, all the buildups will be broken down, and she'll be able to release real good. And then like the power is just going to rush forward.
Yeah. I mean, I could give a few real world examples where that usually solves a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Does it now?
Yeah. What do they call that moment of clarity afterwards? Yeah.
I don't know.
Time to sleep.
A lot of times that's what it turns into.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's the post-nut clarity.
Oh, okay.
Can't say that too loud.
Got it.
Small ears nearby.
Yeah.
I do love that when she tries to get Brigitte to do the spying, Brigitte's like, nope. Once in one of my lives, I was caught eavesdropping on some Aes Sedai, and when they let me go 3 days later, I swear I'd never do that again. So
worst experience ever.
Would not recommend. She's like, don't do it. So I do love that Nynaeve actually does take the target of opportunity and find her way inside the bubble on the backside of the building and like edges along the backside of the building.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
this
gets
is the first
underneath and
time
like
she's been
listens.
like mentally abused. So like she gets picked up by Nicola, taken
Yeah.
to the Janya and whoever else she's supposed
Delana.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that try to grill her for info.
And then I'm like,
On
wait,
hand.
wait,
Yeah.
are they dark friends?
It could be. We don't know who.
Everybody could be.
Yeah, but they pulled her in and started grilling her more for details on Rand.
Very specifically, Rand.
Very
Well,
specifically about Rand.
But remember, they're all trying to make a decision on do they return to the tower? Do they do
why is
whatever?
why is it up to them whether or not they return to the tower? We have a whole cohort of people meeting about that right now.
Well, they probably have a say or a vote, or everybody's got their own choice on what they decide to do.
Yeah, but they
Remember,
they
you're
were
in a
way
group of
And look at
rebels.
this.
When
It
you-
is interesting too that we have a brown. I think it's a brown and a gray, right? So you have someone who's used to dealing with a gray, who's used to dealing with like the really powerful people and learning how to negotiate and manipulate them. So that person could be like, "Hey, if I know something about this person, maybe when we
Maybe something
actually
useful.
do." It could be something useful that we can use to negotiate with the Dragon Reborn. And the other one's like a brown. Of course, they want to know every freaking thing because this is the Dragon Reborn,
Yeah.
yeah.
and maybe there's something. So maybe they're dark friends, maybe they're not. Either way, they're still brown and gray, and they
Yeah.
still have motivations individually or for their Ajas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she decides to go spying on her own. The information is quite, it brings up the question of who's the girl that they're looking for something from?
That's what we definitely need to read about that.
Yeah.
Because that happens after Tarna Fair is the red, who is the tower emissary who they've been meeting with for several days. And
Mm-hmm.
she's not meeting with the Hall of the Tower. She's meeting with the Saladar Six, who have been running the show from behind, right? From the background, from the beginning, as soon as Saladar,
Giggity.
yeah.
Working it
From
from behind.
Working it from behind.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go see what she actually overhears.
I gotta get caught up.
Okay, it's actually near the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can skip around as much as we want. Alan's not here. We can do whatever we want.
That's right. No rules. No king. No king. La 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 la.
Okay, so yeah, it's in the last couple of pages. So we hear the door close after Tarna Fair leaves, and let's see Tarna's reply.
Oh, the one about like, are you sure that is the message you wish me to carry back? You request more time to consider. What is there to consider? And Shiriam's like, well, the hall, and that's where the envoy calls her out, be like, the hall. Don't believe me blind to where power lies. That so-called hall thinks what you six tell them to think. And Shiriam's like, yeah, so the fuck what? They still need time. That's your answer. Yep. Elida will have to wait to hear their decision.
Yeah, so can she not wait a small time to see the White Tower whole once more?
So frustrating. Everybody's going for the power play. Like, that's what that is. It's a show of power. Elida will have to wait to hear their decision.
Okay.
And, like, Elida thinks she's all powerful, and they're making her, the Amyrlin, wait. That alone, it's a power move. We don't have time for this shit. I don't think.
But then
Then it says, perhaps we should just send a message. Perhaps we should simply summon her.
Okay, so wait a minute. So this is what I was getting at. So then we hear the door open and close. So Tarna Fair leaves. And then we get some insight into there is a reason they are stalling for time. Go ahead, Chris. What do they say?
It says, perhaps we should just send a message. Perhaps we should simply summon her. Frowning, Nynaeve held the ground. Who was her? It says, the forms must be met. The proper ceremonies must be followed. We must meet every letter of the law. The smallest slip, it will be used against us. And if we have made a mistake, how long are we to wait? How long dare we wait? As long as need be, as long as we must. It could be that all of these women are dark friends. And what's the other female 13 that we've been following? Her name was
one of the Forsaken?
Yeah.
Grendel, Masana.
Well, maybe Grendel. I mean, we have Mogadine. So one of them. Grendel. Yeah, and Grendel normally has a harem of people around her, right?
All the people around her she controls. Absolutely.
Exactly. So maybe that's the her that they need, that they're afraid of summoning, because
everything. Well, no. Actually, I want to point you to something, because the part you did not read yet says, we're talking about as long as we must. And this is more of Beonin talking. I have not waited this long for the biddable child.
Yes.
To abandon all our hopes now. So, Nynaeve hears them, mention biddable child.
And that was why I thought maybe they were thinking Nynaeve or Egwene or
Egwene, maybe.
But they're waiting for someone. Who is a biddable child they're waiting for? And they've got to
maybe they know Avienda's pregnant.
Send a message somehow. She is a channeler. She's not in the tower. She would be a surprise. Is she biddable? Avienda?
No.
Nah.
But I mean, that's why my mind went to Nynaeve for when I read that earlier on, because we know that she's going to become the Amyrlin at some point. Because one of those flicker moments, she became Amyrlin.
Well, and remember when they were negotiating earlier, when
and all they have to do is
first
send
got
a message to the wise ones.
Well, they were talking about how they need to get somebody new as Amyrlin.
Yes.
But it needed to be somebody young, somebody they could control, but they needed to be really powerful.
Nynaeve.
That's what I'm saying.
Nynaeve,
Elaine, or Egwene.
Somebody who was nonpartisan to the whole Elaida Swan.
Right. And that gets rid of Elaine.
They weren't in the tower during the breaking.
Yeah, I think you got to get rid of Elaine from that because of her connections to Elaida. I don't think enough people would trust that.
Okay, because she grew up with Elaida. There might be some hidden loyalties.
So Nynaeve and Egwene, but Nynaeve, as powerful as she is, can't control herself. But maybe that's what they're talking about with the whole waiting for the biddable child. Like they're waiting for her
to break her block.
To break her block. So it could still be Nynaeve. But it could be Egwene. I think Egwene, the more we kind of meet Greys and kind of learn what they do.
Egwene is what I've been trying to think.
Egwene could totally be a Grey. I keep thinking about her being this unifier type person and, all things to all people sort of thing.
You think she would make a good, Grey type of person, dealing with all of the various factions?
Yeah, I think she could. I think she'd make a great Amyrlin, so...
Okay. Of all colors and none.
Yeah.
Finish chewing that ice.
Yep. Earlier I was saying Nynaeve, and I meant to say Egwene.
Egwene.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you're both on the same page with who you think the biddable child is.
I want it to
I'd
be
like
Nynaeve.
to see that.
Yeah, I want it to be Nynaeve because I want her to break this block and then have a space in this world. Egwene easily is setting herself up to work with the wise ones.
Yep.
Elaine's got an entire kingdom.
Yes.
So what does Nynaeve have? right now Edmondsfield, and she doesn't even have that anymore.
Yeah.
That belongs to Lord Parent.
She is the most powerful channeler that we know of. So once
And I
she
think
breaks the
she's
block,
going to partner very well with Rand to help train some people, or at least be his number one go-to chick when it's time to battle.
I will say one of the things I love about Nynaeve is her commitment to her Emmonsfield people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's gonna
And
get all those girls, and that's just gonna be break the block. Maybe it's that.
and the fact that when they found out that he was a male channeler, she was one who, like, even Egwene sort of like flinched from him a little bit. And from the get-go, Nynaeve was still like, I'm still your ride or die.
Yeah.
I'm there for you regardless.
Yep.
And so I love that about her so much. It's something I didn't really understand about her as much until I was a little bit older.
Yep.
So they're gonna call for Egwene. Egwene's gonna come and represent them as
Good
their
luck.
new amulet.
Currently, I believe that Egwene is in Kyrian with the wise ones.
Yep.
So she's a little ways away. So that could be what they're talking about, having to wait. If they're talking about someone, if they're not talking about Nynaeve and in her block, they could be talking about waiting for somebody who's in a different location.
Yeah.
Or it could be that there's a dark friend that they're waiting on.
Could be somebody we don't even know. We have not even met.
If I had a vote right now with the characters we know, I'd say Nynaeve is the bit of a child, and they're waiting on Land to bust her guac.
Bust that guac. Gotcha. Okay. Is there anything more you guys would like to say about these chapters?
I think we
then
danced
she gets
around
caught,
them.
and then she gets, worked over real good. I feel like she's gonna get a beating.
I don't think so. Wait, the person who caught her, that's the one who's been trying to help her with her block, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think this person's gonna beat her down anymore for something like this.
I don't either.
Here's my question: who was watching them from the second story window?
All right, read that to me.
Neither saw the woman watching them from a second story window.
Oh, the final line.
I bet you it was the red that came to represent the tower.
Someone knows that she was eavesdropping.
Somebody else.
Brigitte?
No, but she was in the building with them.
Mogadine?
Who's the only person that left that room and had time to get upstairs and start kind of pondering and then look down and go, oh, we got a spy.
I mean, Moghedien definitely had time. Like, she had to stay and like clean their chamber pots in their room and stuff, but Nynaeve had time to go be grilled by two Aes Sedai and come back.
Moghedien wasn't in that building.
No, but they could see.
I don't know enough about the layout to say.
Yeah, I don't know if
somebody
Moghedien
could get somewhere. Or not
it does
somewhere.
say watching them from a second story window and not the second story window. So we don't know who was watching them.
Look at my cat.
Yeah, I just saw that.
It's pretty cool. That will be me in a few months. Our cat's been born. That was the other good news.
Hey.
Aren't you allergic to cats?
We're getting hypoallergenic. We're getting a Bengal.
You are like a Russian or something?
Yeah, we're getting a Bengal, so that should be fun.
They're gorgeous. I can't wait for the pictures.
They are.
So gorgeous.
So that's it for those chapters. They were.
Here's for these chapters.
There were some good nuggets in there.
I mean, they're not the most exciting chapters, but
there was some good stuff.
I am waiting for that chapter when Nynaeve can finally use her powers, and I'm waiting for my parent chapter. We are now how far into the 12th chapter?
Parents got to be coming.
Isn't he in like chapter 40 or something. I don't
He's
know.
on his way. If the, look, it's got to be soon. If the
We're
Emmonsfield
on
girls
page
already showed up, then he can't be too far behind.
30, and we haven't had a parent chapter
It's
since
coming.
the book before last or something.
It's coming.
Didn't
She said.
didn't Alan say it was like chapter 40 or something? I didn't actually look.
I don't
I
know
don't
if he
believe
gave
Alan.
the exact chapter. He said he said we're gonna get Perrin heavy, and we're not. So
Yeah.
thanks, Alan.
Hmm.
You stay on vacation.
He does show up this book. So it's
Oh,
not
wow.
like last book where we had no Perrin.
I mean, at least somebody mentioned him. in
You
this
will
book,
see
Chris.
Perrin. He will be Perrin will make an appearance.
Okay.
He's on his way to Camelin, I promise.
Right.
He's gonna arrive the same time men arrives, and then everybody's gonna be so focused. Rand's gonna be so focused on men that he's just gonna disappear into the background again. And then we're gonna get him like sulking in the woods, and then Wolf's gonna come up and nudge him and give him some love, and then he's gonna go run in the
What about
woods.
his papa-in-law?
Watch there be some weird ritual where, like, because they got married, like Perrin has to fight Bashir to the death. Like that's some
That
weird
doesn't
cultural
seem
thing.
like a very good way to propagate the species. If
Yeah,
especially
well, I
if you have more than one child and you want, it just doesn't seem.
Hey, anything could happen.
We're gonna run into Gnome while we're running in the woods. Gnome's coming back in one of these books. I promise you, he's coming back.
Okay,
Might
I'm
be.
here for it. Bring Gnome back. Hashtag bring Gnome back.
If Pater found his way,
Bring
some
Pater back.
crazy
Bring
half
Gnome
wolf man
back.
could. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Pater showed up once again.
he's around. He's
And we're
hanging
gonna
out.
get what's his name back? Darn, I haven't seen him in so long. I forgot his name. Book 1, the first Wolf brother.
Oh, Elias.
Oh
Elias.
my gosh, I was thinking Legolas, and I'm like, well, that's not it.
Elias is like the lady.
Did you guys know that he's been cast for season 2?
Yeah, I did
see
hear that. That's awesome.
It is exciting.
Yep.
Elias is like the Lady Stoneheart. Like
Okay.
pops up for a clip in the TV show, just briefly breezed by and mentioned in the books, but then we never get the whole story.
Yeah, we'll
I
get
hope
some
we get a
more.
little bit of training with Perrin and Elias.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You know, kind of like learning a little bit that wolfy communication and stuff in season 2. That'd be great. I'd love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so favorite character for these 2 chapters, or one for each, whatever.
Let's see.
Mm.
I have got to give. I'm gonna give Nynaeve some props because she finally did something that she didn't think she could, and she went to listen, and that shows some growth. And that's the other reason why, because she has been growing a little bit. She realizes that she's got a lot of cowardice, and she thrived in a very controlled environment. So she's trying to step out of the things that she can control and do something that she can't. And I commiserate with her on that. Like I said earlier, not having my boys around, kind of having my nephew around brought up some feelings and everything this past week, and it kind of brought some realization that I had a world in Newport News that I had full control over. Like I was that man. And then to come to Charlotte, and I'm gaining my people and I'm learning some things, but I'm a nobody. And that's really tough to overcome when you're a huge extrovert.
Yeah.
And you're used to having people like need you and want you around. You know, when I was in Newport News, I'd become a little overwhelmed. And now I'm like, I need
triple booked all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in the chapter before that, I got to give it to Varen because she stayed calm.
She's been planning for 70 years. She better not lose her shit now.
I mean, but
I
That's
won't give it
the-
to Varen, but I like that you did. I kept thinking about that when Zul brought it up again. She's focused. She's got a plan. She's got
Mhm.
something she's been working toward for 70 years.
Like that's true dedication. Like I don't even like to be in a job longer than a few.
Yeah, and
I
with
get
all
bored.
the chaos that's starting to happen now, she's like, I'm not going to let this shit ruin what I've got planned. That's we don't know what it is yet, but that I'll give her some kudos. I think I'm going to go with this is going to be unpopular, I think, but I'm going to go with Taim.
Okay.
That was my second choice.
Yeah. We don't know to what end, but he is getting his way right now.
Getting his way. He is completely manipulating Rand and controlling the entire situation. And that's why he was going to be my number one. But Varen has been so dedicated to her.
Yeah,
Well,
I like those two.
70 years. That's a long. And plus,
Those are both strong
the
choices.
other
Yeah.
thought I had is if she's been dedicated to this for 70 years, she's got to be at least 85, if not older.
Yeah.
Wait, what age?
Well, no, listen. Okay, so if you think about this for a second, the girls might go to the tower at like say 15, 16.
Yeah.
What, all right, they could be a novice and an accepted for 15, even 20 years,
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
and then become Aes Sedai.
She
So
old.
yeah,
That's why I said at least 85. If she came in at 15 and started right away with this plan, then she's at least 85. But
Unless
we
she's
don't
a sleeper
know-
cell and her plan started when she was 5 years old, being conditioned by somebody else. And then when she went to the tower, she was a mole for some other faction.
So she's at least 75 then by that standard.
Right.
Either way,
Anywhere from 75 to 100. Somewhere in that
She is-
range.
it just kind of brings back around of like the age that the Aes Sedai get to and the powers that they have allow them to kind of keep continuing and keep working and keep moving. And it does go back to the whole idea that you had way back when, that their power is based on time and reverting time and inverting time and changing time. And
There is no time.
that too.
Lowercase italicized A, brother.
yes.
So anyway, I like her a lot.
I don't trust her.
I love Varen whenever she appears. So
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for Varen.
Yeah.
I just love that character. I cannot wait to see who is cast as Varen. She better be phenomenal actress. She better be funny, and make us have all these same feelings of we don't know what you're up to. We love you. We don't know if we should, but we love you.
If we could
no,
reach back,
you.
if we could reach back and take old school Whoopi Goldberg, like when she was doing Sister
Oh,
Act,
that'd be hilarious.
she'd be hilarious. I don't know about new modern Whoopi, but
Yeah, I think it's somebody who needs
Sister
to
Act
have that
Whoopi would be good.
where they can have a little bit of physical comedy, a little bit of keeping you on your toes, and like a certain amount of charisma.
Yeah,
And
the lady that played McGonagall, she's just a little too old.
But you gotta have that look on your face, like you know more than you're saying. Also, there's got to be some
also a
wisdom
little
there.
something to throw you off every now
Yeah.
and then. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, she's just a brown.
Right?
I'll play
Yeah.
Varen. I'll do it.
All right.
Do it. You could do it.
All right. So, do you have a pick for chapter 2, or is it just Taim? That's
I
all you're
don't-
going.
I don't like anybody in the second chapter for tonight.
Margita.
I mean, if I had to, I guess. No, I'm going to pick Uno
All right.
because Brigitte is all about him.
Uh-huh.
And
He's like,
Brigitte
he is a
she's-
well
she's-
set up man.
She seems like the kind of woman that like it's a compliment to catch her eye. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Uno. I'm always, down for Uno. I'm about
There you
him. So one eye, doesn't matter. Let's go. Uno.
go. Nudge the same as a wink to a blind man, eh?
All right. Well then, everybody, thanks for allowing me to host today. And
Thank you, Zool.
Thank you. And to our top tiers, we appreciate you guys as well.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Alan's here to
Oh,
say it. So
thank you so much. That means I forgot something. We didn't just get one new patron. There are 2 new patrons.
What?
Yes, yes,
y'all are
yes,
crazy.
yes.
Dang,
So-
Chris, you took 1 week off and we got 2 more patrons.
Maybe I need to do
What
that more
does
often.
No,
that
I'm kidding.
mean?
Please don't. Please don't.
Then again, I had a week
Okay.
without you, and then we got the Patreon.
Well, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
all
had
right.
to wait for that next payday to hit and be like, all right, now I'm ready.
Okay, so we got a new patron named Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. We love you. We love your support. Come join
Thanks,
us in
Matthew.
the Discord. Join us in the patron chat. We want to get to know you. And the second one, hold on. That wasn't in the same message.
Drum roll.
It says Matsny, MATSNY. It could be Matt's New York. I don't know. Anyway, Matt, thank you. We appreciate you. And to all of the other patrons and our Bellas, specifically,
Fellas.
Bella, we love you.
Thanks.
That was
All right.
worth it.
I hope you were all
All of-
dancing.
Yes,
Okay.
I was for sure. All of the giveaways this month are done. Thank you for participating. We'll let you know when there are more out there. And good night.
The end.
Until next time.
Peace.
Thanks,
Bye.
Okay, bye.